Lesson 6.3 is on using the percent proportion. All right, so we are going to have to set up a proportion and then use our strategies that we're going to learn today in solving proportions in order to find our unknown. Now, here is my percent proportion. This is our format. All right, whatever percent they give us, we are going to put it over 100, and then we will set it equal to whatever the is value they give us is, and then whatever the of value they give us is. Now they're going to give us a word sentence, and we're just going to have to decipher that and put it into this proportion, and then we'll have to solve for our unknown value. All right, so solving proportion, the steps that I want you to follow, okay? Step one is you're going to look to do mental math, all right? And we'll kind of talk about that as we go through our examples. If we're not able to do mental math, your second step, I want you to look to reduce the fraction if that is possible. You will try to reduce the fraction side, and then you're going to check for mental math again. If those two steps don't work, we're going to go to step three. Now, step three will work every single time. So if you're not a huge fan of steps 1 and 2 where you're trying to do mental math, you can just start the problem right away with cross multiplying and dividing. This may take you a little bit longer to solve it, just depending on how big the numbers are in your multiplication and division, but step 3 will work every single time. You will be able to cross multiply and divide, and that will get you your answer every single time. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show you all 3 of these steps. All right, so we got a couple examples down here. All right, so what you're going to see today is, here's an example of the problem. It's going to say, what percent of 5 is 3? Okay, so we're going to use our percent proportion format and plug in numbers where we can. Okay, here it said what percent, so they're not telling us the percent. So if they don't give us something, we're going to use a variable to represent that. So here, what percent? We don't know what the percent is. So this top left, we're going to use a variable to represent the percent because that's what we're trying to find in this example. Now we're always going to have that percent over 100 because we always know percents are out of 100. So the 100 will always go on your bottom left today. Now we just got to read the rest of the problem to figure out where we put the 5 and the 3. Okay, is goes on top, of goes on the bottom. Okay, what percent of 5? Okay, it's telling us of 5. So 5 goes in place of the of. Of is on the bottom right. So 5 and then is 3. Okay, so that's how we set the percent proportion up. Now we just need to solve it using our steps. Okay, so we can look to do mental math. All right, now when you do mental math, you always have to start on the side of the fraction. Here, 3/5 is my fraction side, so I would have to work from right to left. Okay, and what I would ask myself is, how do I get from 5 to 100? Can I multiply 5 by a number to get to 100? And that answer is yes, I can take 5 times 20 to get 100. So to get x, all I gotta do is take 3 times 20 as well. 3 times 20 is 60, all right? What percent? It's 60%, okay? Now I'm gonna show you how to cross multiply and divide. So say we didn't wanna do the mental math and you just wanted to go straight to cross multiply and divide, all right? So I'm just going to write the problem again. So after you have set it up into the percent proportion, if you want to cross multiply and divide, this is how you would do it. I like to always multiply the cross products with the variable first because I like the variable on the left side. So we're going to take the cross products and multiply them together. So 5 times x is 5x. And I'm going to bring down my equal sign because I got to set it equal to my other cross product. I'm going to take 100 times 3, which is 300. So there's I cross multiplied. I took care of that. Now I need to divide. And this is like a one-step equation. 5x. How do I get rid of that 5? I divide by 5. That's where the dividing comes in. 5's cancel out. X equals 300 divided by 5 is 60, and it would have been a percent. So regardless of which step on this example that you used, you should have gotten 60% as your answer in each scenario. Mental math, cross multiply and divide. If you notice here, this is a little bit less work and it took us a little bit less time to get there. So if you can see those compatible numbers with mental math, I would highly encourage that. But if you are a cross multiply and divide person and that's what you enjoy to do, that makes more sense to you, you can always do that as well. All right, next example, 25 is, okay? Is top right, I'm putting 25 in the top right. What percent? Once again, we do not know the percent, so I'm going to put a variable in place of that, and it's always out of 100. And then of 20. All right, so I have it set up. Now I'm just going to use my mental math process to solve because I have compatible numbers with 20 and 100. And I started on the right side here and not the left because the right side had my fraction. So how did I get from 20 to 100? Well, I multiplied it by 5. So to get my answer, all I need to do is take 25 times 5, which is a 125%. Okay, because it asks for what percent again. Now, I could have cross-multiplied and divided this example again as well, all right, but I'm just going to show you the mental math one for now, okay? Next example, what number? Now, in this case, we don't know, what number is. They're not telling us what our is, so that is where we're going to put our variable. What number is? I don't know what the is, so I'm going to put my variable in the place where we put our is. Now, they told us 80%. Now, in this case, they did give us 80%, or our percent, and they told us it was 80, and then I'm putting 80 over 100 now, and then of 60. So all I'm doing is deciphering these word phrases and plugging them into my percent proportion. Okay, step one, look to do mental math. Since my fraction side is on my left side this time, I'm going to work from left to right. Can I do anything to 100 to get to 60? Not really mental math-wise, so I can't do step one here. Now, step two, I'm going to look to reduce the fraction. In this case, 80 over 100 is my fraction, not x over 60. That's not a fraction because there's a variable there. So I need to reduce the fraction that has both numbers. Okay, I see I have a 0 at the end and a 0 at the end, so I know I'm going to divide by 10. So I'm just going to take those zeros off. So 80 over 100 reduces to 8 over 10. Now, I could keep reducing if I want because it's not in simplest form, but I'm going to look at my numbers here again quick because after I reduce the fraction, I'm going to look to do mental math. And I notice, hey, I can get from 10 now to 60, okay? I know I can take 10 times 6 to get 60, all right? So I'm going to now take 8 times 6, all right, to get my answer, and that would be 48. And in this case, they just said what number. We're just finding the number, so I don't put the percent. I just find what number, and 48 is my number. So 48 is 80% of 60. I could have kept reducing, right, and get 4 over 5, and then I could do mental math a different way, but you should still get 48 each time that you solve this problem. All right, last example, okay? I have 10%. 10, my percent goes in the top left, and it's once again always over 100. Of 40, I'm given the of, and then is what number? So I don't know the is again, all right? So check for mental math. Starting on my fraction side, can I get from 100 to 40 mentally by multiplying or dividing? Not really, so I'm gonna look to reduce the fraction. Once again, I'm gonna take the zeros off, which is dividing by 10, all right? And now I have 10 and 40. I know I can take 10 times 4 to get 40, and 1 times 4 is 4. And because they said or asked for what number, I just give the number and not the percent. All right? All right. So our homework today is on page 230 to 231, and we're going to do 4 through 24 evens.